Yeah, it's the MDMP book. Plans, designs, prepare, execute, assess. I'm a dork.
Right. So this is
I don't need it, but just in case.
This is going to be a much more gamer-oriented, abstract iteration of all that stuff, I'm sure.
Well, hey guys, let me throw an intro on here real fast. Hey folks, welcome to the BAMF podcast. Today, Sean Patrick Fannin has been very gracious enough to agree to run a demo session of his new Savage Worlds RPG that's up on Kickstarter right now, Freedom Squadron. Hey Sean.
Hey guys, really glad to be here with you. Like we said off record, I have to try to cram in a scenario for you guys and then drag my dog off to the vet and then get back and handle more business for the Kickstarter because life, it gets all over you.
Well, we'll go as fast as we can. I'm playing a tech specialist named Commando Guinness, and that's honestly, it's not my fault. I hit a random Irish name generator and Guinness came up twice, so I decided to go with that. Nick, who are you playing?
I'm playing as a soldier named Soldier. I guess I'll just give his full name because I'm a geek that way. Soldier Maximilian Nicholas Malone. So Soldier Malone.
Well, that wouldn't be soldier, it'd be commando.
I'm a commando?
The rank is commando. You start out as a recruit, and then the rank is commando, then senior commando, then it gets into corporal and stuff like that. But
okay, then I'm a commando.
Yeah, you're a commando. Now,
that actually has a better ring to it.
So you guys are all 15 experience point characters. When you reach 20 experience points, that's when you earn your code name. So in a standard Freedom Squadron campaign, you would start at 0. You'd start out as recruits. You go on your mission 1, which is what's called your first real field mission. You get 5 experience points, which is atypical for Savage Worlds games, but it's meant to represent your immediate. I survived my first mission, and I get I picked up something important. And then over time, you finally get up to where you are 20 experience points and you are seasoned, and that's also when you earn your code name. And once you earn your code name, your rank is a little less important. I mean, it's still in there, and there's rules and discussions about how ranks and stuff like that can be involved. But more, it's just like in the cartoon upon which this is at least lovingly calling back to. It's the code name is far more important, and the kind of the role that you have and stuff like that. So, but these are convention characters, and the reason I did that is that for people who only get like a chance to play once, like in a convention or a demo play, I start you at 15 experience points. So you're already a commando. You'll get 5 experience points after surviving this scenario, and you'll earn your code name after your first time playing.
All right, and Walt, who's your guy?
I am Commando Ramos, a medic.
A medic. Okay, so we got a medic, a soldier, and a tech specialist, and we're good to go.
Okay.
Well, what's the catchphrase we should shout out when we fire our blue laser weapons into the sky?
Well, you don't have blue laser weapons. You have guns. You have like ballistic weapons and stuff like that. There is some limited laser weaponry in the setting, but for the most part, you guys are using advanced ballistic weapons from actual developed automatic rifles and stuff like that. From the real world. So, for example, Commando Malone is armed with an ACR Mark IV rifle, assault rifle.
Oh, and I see I have an MP5 here for Commando Guinness.
So I went through existing weapon systems, and in some cases, weapon systems that have been in development as possible alternatives or possible replacements for established weapon systems. And since it's set in the year 2051, I had some fun renaming and come up with new stuff. So most of these weapons and a lot of the armor is based on current technical developments. In some cases, a little bit more sci-fi, like the Kevram armor is Kevlar and ceramic component, composite armor and stuff like that. But the FN57, I think it's a Mark V or whatever. It's the most advanced version of the 5.7 pistol system, which, I mean, it's a pistol, but actually has the 3-round burst option. So, that kind of thing. So lasers they exist, but it's not the pew, pew, pew all over the place.
Okay.
But for freedom,
for
freedom is the thing that is said. It's the tagline for the thing. So there's a matter of establishing this is not, in fact, a Hasbro cartoon. This is kind of looking back through the lens of nostalgia, but it is it's an alternate universe. World War III happened. We found out that Venom was the organization behind, making all that happen. The world's still kind of a mess, but Freedom Squadron was founded by the United Nations and the Transatlantic Coalition as a joint effort. And there's actually a committee called UNTAC, UNTAC, that oversees Freedom Squadron as a global security and military force. You guys are all part of that. In terms of theme, in terms of feel, if you were ever to have seen G.I. Joe Resolute, which was sort of an anime-flavored version of G.I. Joe that was written by Warren Ellis, they tended to use more ballistic weaponry, and really a lot of Cobra soldiers died in that. So it's a little more believable. I'm not gonna say realistic, because it's still colorful costumes and crazy stuff going on, but it's not blue lasers and red lasers and nobody ever gets hurt. It's a little more, it has a little more depth than that.
I think Bazooka also died in the G.I. Joe Resolute.
Right off the bat. Bazooka and Major Blood were two of the guys that died right off the bat in that. So
yeah.
So the three of you are commandos with Freedom Squadron. You are called in. You're currently aboard what is called the USS Lion of Ireland. Not the USS, I'm sorry, the FSS, Freedom Squadron ship, Lion of Ireland. The commander of that ship is codename Big Irish, which is actually my alternate ego in the setting. And he's called you in. He's like, right, so you're the three I've got on hand here. I don't have any codename operatives, so I'm going to send you into the field. I'm hoping you can get the job done. We've got a UN representative by the name of Carmen Escribano. She's an expert in establishing dialogues with neo-communist bloc nations, the ones who were our enemies during World War III. And she's gone missing. She was on her way to a secret summit on the island of Santiago and the island nation of Cape Verde, where she was to meet with representatives from Croatia and Albania to discuss trying to help them in separating from Russia and becoming part of the coalition. We think that Venom intercepted her, and they've got some bad plans for her. At least we're hoping they've got bad plans for her, as opposed to having just killed her. One way or another, we need to find out what happened, where she is. So that's going to be up on the three of you to get out there and track it down and see what happened.
I see.
So that is actually it in running up. So we're going to open up with the plans and operations part of the gameplay to start with. And typical scenario, as I like to run them, we'll establish a big, broad premise that gives you the option to kind of go global with whatever it is you're going to do. You have access to, vehicles and resources and assets and intelligence data and things like that. And you get to make some pretty broad decisions about where you're going to start. Obviously there's some clues that you could open up with and start with, but it's kind of going to be up to you. What'll happen is we'll go through this. Now, this is an abbreviated version. Normally it's 3 rounds. We're just going to go through 2 rounds for this one. And then, assuming we have time, this can lead to an actual kind of boss battle situation where you get to the finale and you track down the final target of whatever it is you're trying to do, and you deal with the last, the key final forces that you have to overcome to accomplish your mission. I would I might, for the number of players that we have, and these are the different factors that the GM can play with to adjust for how many players they have and how complex they want things to be. So because we basically have 3 players, I set the mission complexity. Now what I would do is I would set it as low complexity. So it'd be a 1, 2, 3 spread. We'd start with just 1 card, 1 challenge, and there'd be the 3 of you to face that challenge together. The second round, you would have 2 challenges. And then the last round, you would have 3 challenges. So you'd literally have to split up, one-on-one. Like I said, I altered this one. So we're just going to go with a 2 and 3 for the, so there's 3 cards in the second round. There's an idea that one of the fans of the setting, John Atkinson, suggested, and he uses it in his game, and I'm actually incorporating it. It's called Mission Specialists, which is basically incorporating available NPCs that the team can bring in to help them with certain kinds of challenges or situations. So you have a mission specialist, codename Walker, which is another character in the setting. I know we're not doing cameras on this, right? We're just doing podcast.
No, we will release it on YouTube, so there is visual. So if you want to show off a card,
so that's the character codename Walker right there, on my camera.
Okay.
And he's actually an occult operations specialist, but he's also a trained detective. Who has some investigative abilities and stuff like that. So he might be Actually, I got the wrong freaking. No, rewind that. Take two. No, code name Mr. Nobody.
Oh shit.
Why are you? What's
I wrote down all the pertinent information on codename Walker.
Sorry, no. No, I apologize. It's not codename Walker. This is your bridge. This is you getting over it.
Okay.
Codename Mr. Nobody has extensive covert operations and intelligence operations experience. He's actually a trained investigator. He's got tradecraft. He's got excellent covert operation abilities.
Okay.
And he's got some ability for. He could potentially also be somewhat helpful in interaction challenges if it comes down to it. So you have Mr. Nobody as a mission specialist that you can bring in if you have a problem with one of the scenarios that you don't think you guys are the right choices for. So what we're going to open up with is we're going to establish 2 initial cards, which are going to represent the 2 initial challenges that you're going to need to figure out how you're going to overcome. And there's a problem and tactical puzzle solving kind of thing here. But then there's also going to be the narrative. So you guys are also, as you're thinking about the problem and puzzle solving aspect, you also want to think about what the story is, what the narrative is. Like, okay, I got a really cool idea. We're going to go to here, and this is what we're going to do to overcome this challenge kind of thing. That's perfectly valid approach. Now, we also have an additional advantage. Because Nick is playing the soldier with the command track abilities, he has an ability. Why don't you tell us about that ability for us there, Nick? It's operational planning.
He's got operational planning, squadron branch training ×2, hold the line. I don't know what
we don't need to go through all of them. Just talk about the operational planning.
The operational planning.
You've got that on the second page.
Let's go into that here. All right. Operational planning. The planning and execution of a successful field operation requires exceptional intuition and insight, as well as an ability to understand your team's capabilities and giving them room for initiative. Team leaders with this edge are able to draw 1 additional challenge card each round during plans and operations. They can replace an existing challenge or leave this new card on the table as an additional challenge, thus providing added opportunities to generate success. You are also able to make a knowledge battle check as a cooperative roll for one other team member's trait roll once a round throughout the mission. This is in addition to whatever action you take during that round. There are no penalties for doing both of these things.
All right, so there's a slight typo there. It should just be battle now. It used to be called knowledge battle. Glad we came across that. I've just edited that on my core pregen, but now it's just called the battle skill. But yes, you can do that as an additional cooperative role on top of whatever it is you choose to do during the thing. And because you have the operational expertise specialization, you get +2 on those checks. All right, so that means that you're going to be able to do an additional card that you can use to replace one of the cards, or just as an additional opportunity for excellence. So the mission difficulty, by the way, is medium, which means you need to average 2 successes per challenge. Because there is going to be 5 challenges total, 2 and then 3, that means you need 10 total success tokens or marks or whatever to represent that you have successfully completed the total mission. If you get +5, this is why you want to shoot for extra successes, there's an additional mission reward for that. If you manage to get +10, in this case it'd be 20 success tokens, you would earn a special mission reward. Each character would earn a special mission reward. So there's reasons to push for more successes. There are mechanical benefits and rewards for succeeding at the mission and for succeeding really well at the mission. So, and remember, again, in addition to your 3 characters, you also have codename Mr. Nobody, who is the trained investigator and spy, basically, that you can call in for stuff. So your first 2 cards, by the way, wow, that's a pretty damn good draw, and I shuffled the hell out of these. You have a covert situation normal. I'm holding that up to the camera right now. All right, and that's codename Mirage is the image on that card. Covert means you have to use one of the following skills to solve it: computers, electronics, investigation, notice, stealth, streetwise, thievery, or tradecraft. Situation normal means there are no penalties or bonuses on that card. So the other one is a technical challenge, and technical challenges require computers, academics, electronics, healing, investigation, logistics, spellcasting if you had, a magic character, psionics if you had one of them, repair, and science. So technical type things that you know, that you study, that kind of thing. It is also a situation normal. By the way, that's a wild card character, codename Wild Card. He's a tech specialist in the Freedom Squadron. So you have a covert and a technical challenge. Those are the two categories of challenges that you have in front of you. In addition, again, because of codename Malone, you get a third card, which either you can use to replace one of these cards, although they're both good cards,
right?
Or keep on the table as an additional challenge. That means it's going to split you up more, but it's a chance for more successes. And you're probably going to want to, because it's an interaction jackpot. Interaction requires intimidation, investigation, performance, persuasion, streetwise, or taunt to solve. Jackpot means all rolls are made at +2, and everyone who's on the team for this card gains either an interaction contact at D8, which is a special mission reward. It's somebody who you can call in later to help you on other challenges and is part of your character's story, or you gain a focus, which is a floating +1 that adds to an interaction style skill or set of skills. Yeah. So that's your third card, is an interaction jackpot. Now, when I say those skills that are required to solve the card, important point, whoever is team lead, whoever is the primary character or actor on that challenge, they must use the skills listed, one of the skills listed as the final roll to solve it. If you are not the primary actor, if you are in support of someone else on a challenge, you can use any skill on your character sheet as a support role. You could use shooting to support a covert challenge or an interaction challenge, as long as you can explain in a cool story way what you were doing that allowed you to use shooting to support the other person's covert or technical or interaction efforts. So that's a thing. And again, as another special thing, Malone has the ability to make what's called a battle check, which is his knowledge of strategy and tactics, as a free support role for somebody else's actions on one of these cards. So now we have the situation where the three of you and your mission specialist, codename Mr. Nobody, need to decide A, if you're going to keep all three cards, B, if you're going to dump one of the either the covert or technical for the interaction, or C, dump the interaction and just stay focused on the initial two cards.
Let's do 3. Let's add that on to the mission set, that third card.
So you guys want to go for all 3?
What do you guys say? Since I am
All right, so I want to go ahead and remind you guys, and I've got chips for you here. I've actually marked them on the little card I've got next to me. Each of you has 3 what are called bennies. You guys have all played Savage Worlds, right?
I don't think Nick has.
I have not in a long time.
Oh, well, lame. All right, never mind. I'm just kidding. So you guys are so you have bennies. Bennies are things you can use to either re-roll a bad roll. That's the typical Savage Worlds use, or there's a setting rule called extra effort, and you can spend it. And I'll go through this again as we go through it. I'll say, hey, you might want to do extra effort here. Extra effort means you spend a benny to just drop a D6 and add it on top of your roll. So if you're are in the ballpark, but you want better, or you just barely missed, doing extra effort is a way to go as an option for your bennies. Right now, all of you have 3. And you can earn more through invoking your hindrances and stuff like that. It's like, I think I heard Mike doing an Irish accent there just now.
Aye, just true.
All right, well, you just earned yourself a bonus benny, so there you go.
Well, I mean, he did his best. He did his best effort to have one, but
yeah, no, that's a thing. All right, so so you're going to keep all 3 cards. You're going to keep all 3 challenges on the table here. So let's now discuss who's going to do what. Because you are keeping all 3, that means that 3 of the 4 characters are going to have to take lead on a challenge, and then you're going to have a 4th character who's going to be basically in backup for one of you, and then Malone will be able to also roll a knowledge battle as a backup to somebody's challenges as well. So talk to me, guys. We have a technical, which means somebody, that's because Mike is playing a tech specialist. He's a fairly obvious choice for that. It's not absolute, but I'm just saying that's probably not a bad choice. You have a covert, which means somebody who is either good with computers and electronics or is good at things like thievery, stealth, and that kind of thing. And I'll remind you, Mr. Nobody has some skills and along those lines if you want to call him in on that. And then there's the interaction one. The interaction one tends to be the hardest one because so many players don't necessarily pick characters who have a lot of interaction skills. But this is one of the situations where, hey, one of the things in front of you to solve this is you've got to deal with somebody on some level. Now, investigation is one of the skills that you can use for that. But there's also, as I said, intimidation, performance, persuasion, streetwise. So a lot of characters do have streetwise, and taunt. It is a jackpot. So even if you end up going in with a low skill, because it's a jackpot, everyone's rolling at +2. So it's not going to be quite as hard. So thoughts?
We should probably go with the technical card first, so that we can start tracking down who has our missing delegate.
Okay, so you want to, somebody would be searching data or something like that, perhaps. Bear in mind, you guys have to split up. All these cards have to be dealt with at the same time. So you, in terms of the order, that's fine, but you still have to figure out who's doing the technical challenge while somebody else is doing covert, while somebody else is doing interaction.
Nick, did you want to handle the covert, and then I can handle the interaction?
Yeah, I can handle covert.
Okay, so it looks like we're assigning the covert challenge primarily to Commando Malone, and we are assigning the technical challenge to Commando Guinness. Yes,
It's truth. Yeah.
all right, and that means we're leaving the interaction challenge. So, Commander Ramos, do you want that, or did you want to back somebody else up and have Mr. Nobody handle that? How do you want to go there?
I'm gonna try it.
Okay.
I'm gonna go for it.
Okay, very cool. So that would leave 2 people for backup. One person is Mr. Nobody, who will be physically present backing somebody up on one of these challenges. And at the same time, Commander Malone can make a strategic and tactical analysis that he then provides to somebody else for their challenge.
Awesome.
So where do you want to assign Mr. Nobody?
I'm sorry, say that again. You kind of broke up.
Where do you want to assign Mr. Nobody?
Maybe the interaction challenge.
Say that again.
Well, he's got people skills. He's a face man, right? So maybe the interaction challenge.
He is not as peoply as, I mean, he's good at investigation, but he's much more covert than he is peoply. But remember, because he's in support, he can back anybody up. So, he could support anyone at all. He gets, as a support character, he can use for example, his rather considerable stealth skills and his thievery skills, both of which would be at a D8 +2. He could support any one of those challenges. The interaction challenge is a jackpot, so it's automatically at +2. So, for example, you may want to have him backing up the technical challenge, and he could be doing something sneaky and thievery-like to support the technical aspects. To give a better chance there. So I'm just saying there's lots of mix and match here. So, again, whoever's in support can use the best skill they have, and it doesn't matter what the challenge is. They can still choose their best skill because they have to just come up with a cool story about what they're doing to support.
If you guys don't mind, I'll take them with me.
All right. So, Mr. Nobody.
What challenge are you doing, Walt?
What's that?
What challenge are you doing? I didn't write it.
I'm doing the interaction challenge, so
Yeah.
I got to go talk to people and be nice. I can be
Oh,
nice.
you do that?
All right. So Mr. Nobody is supporting Commando Ramos in the interaction challenge. Now, so which challenge do we want to handle first? Because now we've got everybody assigned. So now we decide who's going to go first: the technical, the interaction, or the covert.
Since we're talking about it, I want to do the interaction because I'm all Twitter pated and want to see how it works now.
Okay, so Commander Ramos, which skill were you planning on using? Let's go ahead and get that figured out first. Intimidation, investigation, performance, persuasion, streetwise, or taunt?
Let's see.
Go Batman, taunt his ass.
Well, it depends on what he has.
I'm kidding.
I don't have it. I don't have any of that.
You're a medic, man. Give him some
Yeah.
So hold on. Let me pull up the medic character sheet here real quick. So I suppose since you guys don't have a lot of experience with these characters, well, actually, I'm assuming everybody can make sense of the character sheets. I designed them to be pretty.
Oh yeah, they're very straightforward.
All right, so the problem is you're handling interaction, but you don't have any of those skills. So that'll be interesting. So, all right. Well, you're doing it. Basically, this would be an unskilled check because you're putting yourself in a suboptimal situation. At the end of the challenge, that will earn you a bonus Benny.
Yes.
So
my plans come to fruition.
We'll have that. So that being the case, do you want to try to intimidate someone? Do you want to investigate? Do you want to find someone to persuade? Do you want to use your not considerable at all streetwise skills? Where do you want to go there? Story-wise, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking. Now, where did the delegate disappear from again?
She was on her way to a summit on the island of Santiago in the very tiny Atlantic island nation of Cape Verde.
Cape Verde, right? Okay. Yeah, take Mr. Nobody with me because he's obviously going to be able to blend into a crowd with a name like that, and try to let's get into the local underworld and try to persuade them to give us a hand.
Okay.
Give them one of those like back alley deals where it's if you help me now, I'm sure Freedom Squadron could be convinced to help you later, kind of deal.
Well, that is actually not bad at all. So I'm going to say, because of the story that you're telling, so this is how this part works, guys, is as a GM, I take the input from the players and I make some evaluations on that. Because that's where you're going. Mr. Nobody is going to use his tradecraft skill, which is his knowledge of basically spy versus spy type work, dead drops and establishing meetings and figuring out who's the right person to go talk to where, kind of thing. So he's got a tradecraft skill of D8. And I'm going to go ahead and roll for him in support of you. Now, it is a jackpot, so he gets a +2 on this. So I'm going to go ahead and roll. So he rolls a 6, and a +2 becomes an 8. So a 4 in Savage Rolls is a success on a standard skill roll. And then every 4 after that is what's called a raise, and a raise is usually, it can be additional benefit. In this case, it is. So at a 4, we get a +1. At an 8, we get a +2. So he is providing you +2 on your final roll. And that's in addition to the +2 because of the jackpot. So even though you're not really a face character, you're coming in to an area where he's connected you very effectively with some people who are already predisposed to listen kindly to what you have to say and to want to work with you. So you're getting a +4 on your otherwise unskilled persuasion check. Now then, Nick, this is where you have a decision point to make. Do you want to spend your battle roll to further support this one, or do you want to save it to support Commando Guinness on his technical challenge?
Let's use it in support of this, since this is our first mission. And don't we get bonuses for mission success?
Yes. The more successes you get on a particular challenge, if you get 3 or more, it gives you a free redraw on the next round. So piling up successes is good.
Right.
You want maximum successes wherever you can get them. But in this case,
interact. Let's go ahead and use that now.
All right. So you would then
make my subordinate leaders.
Right. So you will make a battle check, which because of your specialization result, you get +2, and you get +2 because you're supporting a jackpot scenario. So make your battle roll at +4, and your battle skill is what?
Battle skill
I
is
think it's
D8.
All right, so you would find a D8 because you're a wild card, and because you guys are not familiar with the Savage Rolls rules. Let me just talk you through it. You're a wild card. A wild card means you also get to roll a separate D6. That's your wild die. You take the better of whichever of those dice comes up. So if they can roll 3 on the D8, but a 5 on the D6, you keep the 5, right? It's to keep the best one. Right, you keep the highest number. If any of your dice ever roll maximum, that's called acing. And it's the exploding die concept. So if you roll maximum on a 6, if you roll 6 on a D6 or 8 on a D8, you keep that number, you pick it up and you roll again and add that together. So dice can explode and generate ridiculous numbers. So go ahead and roll your dice.
All right. I'm going to roll the D8 first.
Oh, okay.
That gave me a 7.
Okay, so 7, and then you have +4 on that, so that's a total of 11 on that result.
It's a +4.
Yes, +2 because you have +2 for battle skills when you are in cooperation, and +2 because it's a jackpot challenge, which has an inherent +2 built into it.
Okay, so 4 + 7.
Right, so you would be at 11 for that one. Now roll your d6.
The d6 gave me a 4, so I'm going to roll with the d8.
All right, so yeah, you ignore that when you keep the higher one. So you have an 11. So what that means is 4 give you a success, 8 give you a raise, and then if you'd gotten a 12, that would have been an additional one. However, the maximum benefit you can gain from cooperative rolls is +4. And since Mr. Nobody had already given Commando Ramos +2, and you just gave Commando Ramos an additional +2, you've maximized the benefit that support can give him. So you guys you're in as good a shape as you can be there. So at this point, Commander Ramos, you will be rolling at a total of +6 for the bonuses, 4 from support, 2 from the card. However, you are rolling an unskilled check. That means you roll
-2.
You roll a d4 -2. So you roll a d4 and a d6, because d6 is always the wild die. Whichever those comes up high, you keep that. But again, because it's unskilled, it's -2. But your net bonus is +4. It's +6 -2. So you're still at a net +4 on this challenge. You're in really good shape here. So roll a d4 and a d6, and whichever of them comes up better. And remember that if it rolls a 4 on the 4, it explodes. 6 on the 6, it explodes.
Right on. We got 3 on the d4, 4 on the 6. So I'm going to go with the 4. And
4
that gives me an 8.
4 gives you an 8. So that would be 2 successes on that first challenge. Now, that's good. This is where I'm telling you what you can do. I'm not telling you what you should do. Okay?
Yes, sir.
However, if you wanted to do what we call extra effort, now it's with Betty's, you can either re-roll or extra effort. If you re-roll, you may not extra effort. If you do extra effort, you may not then re-roll. It's one or the other, and whichever one you do obviates the other one, right? You can re-roll as many times as you like. However, you can only extra effort once. So in your situation, I might think if I were there, I might go for the spend a Benny to extra effort, because you want to stack up those extra successes, because you have a better chance of high level rewards if you do so. So what I would do if I were in your shoes, I would extra effort, spend that d6. If you got a 4 better, you'd get 1 more success, which, more successes is always better. If you don't want to, though, if you want to play conservative, hold it back and wait for later. I'm just suggesting, that's an option for you. So what do you think?
I'm going to spend the Benny.
Okay. So we will spend that Benny. Here it is.
Nice.
Now, because we said you were doing you made a suboptimal choice, you're going to get that Benny back once we get this resolved one way or another. But you spent it to extra effort. So roll a d6.
1 more d6. I got a 2.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, it did not pay out for you.
Damn, Walt. Like you don't even want this mission to succeed, man. And you just got to talk to folks.
I'm doing what I can, man. I'm doing what I can.
All right. Well,
all right.
I'll let you know that your evaluation is coming up at the end of the quarter.
Well, there's a thing. All right. So I was just looking to see if there's anything he had that might have given him an unknown bonus there, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot there. So didn't quite pull it off. However, you do get the Benny spent back at the end of the challenge because you used a suboptimal skill, and so you made a suboptimal choice for that. So
Sweet.
Nonetheless, you still acquired 2 successes, which at a minimum, the average of what you need to succeed in the mission was 2 successes per mission, and you have an extra mission card in play anyway. So you're still not in bad shape. So with that, we can then tell some additional story. You went in, you made some connections with the underground. We tend to kind of keep it abstract at first, and then we kind of zero in later to more specifics. But you guys are more than welcome to add in any narrative you want. And it's an interaction exchange kind of thing. So you and I can kind of play off. If you have a strong sense of what happened, you would jump in and say, at this point what it was. Alternately, I can go in and say, yes, they do let you know that she did arrive on the island. However, she got snatched almost immediately by underground elements that aren't part of the usual Santiago underworld. And so you now have sort of a trail to pick up. You have more information, and you have a trail to pick up that can either be followed up with technical or a covert operation at this point. So which one do you guys want to do next?
What are you thinking, Mike?
Who wants to go next, technical or covert?
We can go and do mine. That's fine.
Okay, so which skill were you wanting to approach this with?
Let me survey the character sheet.
So you've got computers, electronics, investigation, notice, stealth. No, I'm sorry, looking at the wrong skill. Shit. Computers, academics, computers, electronics, healing, investigation, logistics, repair, and science are the ones that are likely on yours that you're going to want to look at.
I don't see academics. I see athletics. I have a D10 in computers, so that's probably my best bet.
Yes, absolutely. Computers is one of the ones you want to do there. So academics is more the in Freedom Squadron. Academics is the liberal arts side of things, politics, business, history, those kinds of things.
I just don't see that on my sheet. I see athletics, but I don't see academics.
Not every character has every skill.
Oh, okay.
Your character just didn't go heavy on the liberal arts side of things. He stayed very focused on the STEM side of things. So yeah, not every character has every skill, right? Skills are going to vary between characters.
Okay.
So computers D10 is going to be a really good one. So maybe we go with the idea that part of what Ramos and Mr. Nobody picked up was information on I don't know, something hack worthy. What do you think?
That sounds reasonable. Maybe a list of potential organizations with servers on the deep web who might have had something to do with it, or maybe the name of a shell company that might have a computer presence I could hack into.
Okay, cool. I like it. So some company that actually has a presence on the island that may have nefarious dealings.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so sounds good. You are on your own here because Malone used his battle support for the other challenge. So it's straight up on you.
Because this is all still the first round, right?
Yeah, it's still the first round. And now, again, the typical session would have 3 rounds, but I said we're doing a sort of an abbreviated session here. So I will probably actually give you guys credit for I didn't adjust for it until now, but I'm going to do on the fly adjustment here. Because we're only doing 2 rounds, your mission rewards will actually be plus, if you get plus 3. I'm sorry. Well, no, if you get plus 2, if you get 2 better than the minimum success is necessary, you'll get the Midland additional reward. If you get plus 5 tokens, if you get 15 successes total, you'll get the maximum mission reward. Because I didn't adjust for the fact that you only have 2 rounds here. So having now that I remember that. So data acquisition, all that kind of stuff. You have a plus 2, by the way, on all trait rolls dealing with digital tech. Well, this definitely qualifies as digital tech. So of that.
Okay. So
you will roll a D10 and you will roll a D6
plus 2. Okay.
You'll also get a D6 because you're a hero, because you're a wild card. Whichever of those dice comes up better, that's the one you keep.
All right. So D6 plus 2 and D10 plus 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. D6 plus 2 was a total of 6. D10 plus 2 was a total of 6. Wow. What are the chances? Guess we're going with 6.
Okay. Do you want to spend a Benny to either re-roll, which you would re-roll the whole thing if you did, or do you want to go for the extra effort, or do you want to stand on the 1 success?
How's extra effort work in this context?
You would spend one of your bennies, which you're sitting on 4 right now, and I would spend one of those, and you would add a D6 to the number 6. And what you'd be trying for is an 8, maybe, or if the dice blows up. You always want the dice to blow up, right? So you're hoping those dice explode and give you lots of extra whatever. But at least at a 2 or better, you would have 1 more success on the mission.
Okay, let's do the extra effort then.
All right.
And that's just an unmodified D6?
It's just a straight up unmodified D6. That is correct.
Okay, and that's a 5.
Okay, and we actually forgot another bonus that you have.
What's that?
So you have a 6 plus 5 is 11. You have a field computer which that you go into the field with, and it also gives you plus 2 on computers checks where appropriate. So that actually takes you to a 13 total. So I was just looking at your character sheet and remembering that also you had that bonus there. So if you can figure out a way to use your field computer, which totally, right? You're on a little tiny island in the middle of nowhere, and you're using your badass field computer to supplement your abilities and extra do extra hacker-worthy type stuff. You're a total hacksaw, dude. So you started with a 6, you rolled a 5 on your extra effort, And then, as I said, we forgot that other +2, putting you to 13. So that is success and 2 raises, which means you actually end up with 3 successes on that.
Damn.
Which, by the way, means you get 1 free redraw on the next round. So you have, in fact, tracked down all kinds of useful information that furthers the investigation into what happened to Ambassador Escribano. And I'm going to, it could totally, so one thing that players have to get used to when they're in this situation is you have control of the story. You get to decide if you're really inspired, like, you know what, the next part takes us away from the island. We're now in Germany somewhere. We have to go to Taiwan or whatever. You can totally do that. Or you can totally focus and keep the whole thing right there on the island. It's up to you and the movie you see in your head. That's how it goes. You get to decide where the information takes you. So, for example, at this point, Nick, you get to decide if Commander Malone gets information from these two that keeps him searching on the island with a covert op, or if he's actually going someplace else.
Okay, how do I determine that though?
You get to.
I get to choose.
So this is where that frou-frou 21st century story game thing comes into play here. I mean, if you don't have an idea at all and you're just not feeling it, then as a GM, I could throw some stuff in and throw some ideas out. Okay. But you get to let your imagination play with this. I mean, you have to fulfill a covert challenge.
Right.
But you can, if you have a cool idea in your head about where the story goes, you can take the story there. It's a narrative exchange between the two of us.
Okay.
So as much as you're inspired, you get to play with that. You get to help kind of write the script about where your character is, where does the next scene happen. You get to play with that.
Okay, cool. All right.
So does the information that is developed from Commando Malone and or Commando Guinness and Remus's efforts keep you focused on Santiago, or do you think maybe it's taking you someplace else?
No, I would think that information is going to get me focused on my target, which is with Santiago, because.
All right, so we're staying on the island. We think she's somewhere on the island at this point.
Right, but time's limited, I would think, because anytime there's a kidnapping operation, you want to move the target to another location. So I'm saying time's limited here, so that information is kind of helping me get to where I need to go before we have to go to another target location.
All right, so you're running a covert op to follow up on this. That means you need to choose computers, electronics, investigation, notice, stealth, streetwise, thievery, or tradecraft.
Okay, well, the only one I have in that group is notice and stealth.
Okay.
Electronics, but they're all D6s, so it doesn't really matter. We're going to roll with stealth.
Okay, so at this point, that would mean you have a target and you're trying to basically sneak into that location to see what you find.
Right, confirm or deny whatever intelligence we've gathered at this point. Okay, so it's a D6.
Right.
Go ahead and roll that now, or
yeah, you would roll a D6 and you would roll a second D6, which represents your wild die.
Okay. Fudge. The first D6 is a 3.
Yep.
All right, and then the second D6 is a 1. Jesus Christ, it's like they want me to fail.
All right, so at this point, what would happen is you have to get at least 1 success on each card, or you trigger what is called the mission risk conditions.
Okay.
Now, you can still succeed at the total mission by achieving the total number of success tokens, but if you do not successfully navigate one of the challenges, the GM still benefits from what's called the mission risk. In this case, the mission risk is medium, which means that at the end of this, I would get an additional GM Benny equal to 1 for every 2 players in the mission. In this case, and rounds up, so I'd get 2 bonus GM Bennies, which means I have more Bennies to use against you in the fight,
right,
or to oppose you in other situations. It doesn't mean you've completely failed, but it means you fail on this part. So that's if you let that stand. If you don't, if you choose to spend a Benny, which you can do so at this time, you could either re-roll that to try to get at least a 4 or better, or as we say, do the extra effort. Now, if you do extra effort, that's the better odds, because you automatically are going to succeed, right? Because you got a 3 on one of your D6s, correct? Right. So if you extra effort, you roll a D6 and you add it, which means you're going to minimum roll a 1, which means you're automatically going to succeed at least, by 1 level. So you basically buy the success by doing the extra effort at this point. And you might get better if you roll really well on the D6. It's still your choice if you want to re-roll and try for double, try to get one of those dice to explode, or if you just want to add a D6 and go for the sure bet.
Now, can one of us assist? So, like, if we
unfortunately, no, because you're elsewhere in the story right now.
Gotcha.
You guys, you're split up in different locations. There is an edge called Common Bond that allows you to spend bennies in support of your teammates. There's also some special abilities within the Freedom Squadron setting itself that does allow that kind of thing, but you have to have those special abilities.
Right.
Right on.
Okay. I'm going to go with the extra effort since it's a guaranteed success.
Right. So then you would roll a D6.
All right. Stand by. I rolled a 2.
All right. So 3 + 2 is a 5, which means you do achieve a success.
All right.
So that means you do not trigger the mission risk. What happens there, and again, this is a GM and a player narrative thing, but if you don't mind me throwing an idea out.
No, go ahead.
You do successfully get inside. However, you find the place crawling with what look to be covert operatives.
Oh, shit.
Lots of fedoras.
Way more people in there than you expected. They're clearly foreigners and pretty great number. And you overhear a conversation with someone on a radio. They're talking on a radio, stuff like that, and they're talking about the package is already aboard the boat.
Okay.
And so your estimation is she's probably the package they're referring to.
Right.
At that point, they start to they immediately go in as soon as that's confirmed, and you hear somebody say, "Yes, Captain Zolvar, Zolvar." And then you see them break up, and you see them, as you kind of are paying attention, you notice that there's explosives set everywhere in this warehouse, and they've just activated them. So you find yourself doing that run as fast as you can as the building blows up behind you, kind of thing.
Right. Is there a name on the vessel that I noticed?
No, you still need to find that.
All right.
Because you only got the one success. If you'd gotten more than one success, you might have picked up a name of the craft. But as it is, she's no longer on the island. So the next part is going to be finding the name of that vessel. You're gonna hope that you guys can find the name of the vessel and figure out where it is. So that leads us to the next round. Okay. So that's the first round, and you have achieved a total of 6 successes out of the minimum 10 that you need. So you're not in bad shape. So you need 4 more to have, actual mission success. You would need, typically in a 3-round one, you would need 5 over that for medium mission success, and you would need 10 over that for maximum special mission reward success. As I said, I'm adjusting it slightly for purposes of we're only doing 2 rounds. So you would need a total of 12 to get the medium success. You would need 15 for the maximum success. So you're not bad off. So what's going to happen now is we're going to draw 3 cards for the next round, plus an additional 4th card based on your special ability, the operational planning ability, and you'll have that same choice. Whereas you'll look at the 3 cards, and then you'll take your 4th card and see if you want to use it to replace. But because one of your previous challenges you got 3 successes on, you get a free redraw as well. So that'll be helpful. So from your special ability and the previous mission success, you've got a little bit of an advantage going in. So here's our 3 cards to start with. It is going to be it's going to be a technical challenge. The same thing as before. This is situation normal again. Okay. There is a tactical challenge. Tactical is, and that's character hardcore that's on that one. He's the guy walking away from the explosions. And yes, he's very much looks exactly like Sylvester Stallone. Tactical challenges require one of the following skills to solve: athletics, battle, boating, demolitions, driving, fighting, notice, piloting, riding, shooting, survival, and tracking. So these are the I do things skills, right? Combat and otherwise. So I fly a plane, I climb stuff, I shoot stuff, I fight stuff, that kind of thing. So tactical is kind of what you think it is. And that's a bit of luck. Bit of luck is not quite the jackpot, but it's also +2. Oh, by the way, that reminds me. Commando Ramos, at some point, Walt, your character. This is, by the way, you get to keep this character and continue having him for future Freedom Squadron gameplay if you want.
Sweet.
You will get to choose either an interaction contact of D8 value or an interaction focus, which means you would pick a focus like I don't know, Islander Underworld could be a focus where whenever you're making a skill roll dealing with the underworld of like small island nations, you get a +1. It could be to any of the skills, or like I said, interaction focus, which is like somebody like a smuggler, like maybe you met a smuggler that helps you out in talking your way through things in the future, and you could bring them in on future interaction challenges, and they would give you a D8 bonus on such challenges. So you get to make that decision as whether you want to focus or if you want a contact, which is a permanent bonus added to your character.
That's fantastic. I'm going to go with the focus of smuggler.
Okay, so a focus of smugglers. In other words,
yes.
you have a bonus whenever you're dealing with smugglers.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there's a place on your character sheet that says focuses, and you would write smugglers. And so anytime you make any skill roll, if there's a way you can work in that you're dealing with smugglers, you get a +1.
That's fantastic.
All right, so here's the third card. And this is the one you're probably going to want to spend your free redraw on because it's another tactical, but it's a disaster. And disasters are, as you might imagine, the worst card possible. Disasters go against the enemy leadership opposition die instead of being against a target number of 4. You know how up to now we've been needing to get a 4 or an 8 or whatever? Now I get to roll the enemy leadership. And the enemy leadership for this mission is listed as highly competent. So I would roll a D10 and a wild die in opposition to any of your rolls dealing with this card. You would also be at -4 for all your rolls. So I get to roll a D10 and a wild die, and I can spend my bennies against you, and you're at -4 to all your rolls. So this is the worst possible card. And because
hey guys, I have to step away for a second, guys.
Gotcha.
Okay.
But keep going. Keep going.
So if you fail to solve this card, everyone who's involved with this challenge also suffers 1d3 wounds. So you get hurt.
Good Lord.
You get hurt if you hurt bad, possibly, if you mess up on this challenge. So if you were stuck with this, your camera keeps going everywhere, Walt.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's some reason it got jacked up.
Okay. I was starting to get seasick. So if you were stuck with this card, well, that would really, really suck, but you're not. You have a free redraw, and you also have the card that Nick will get to pull that could also be used to replace this one. So we'll go ahead and just set this to the side. We're going to assume you're going to get rid of it one way or another. So Commando Malone, so it happens. There's actually more bad cards than good. You guys got really lucky on that first draw. This is an interaction snafu. So snafus are not as bad as disasters, but they ain't good. So interaction is just like before, intimidation, investigation, all those skills. Snafu means it is against the opposition die, like I said before, a D10 and a wild die. There's not the -4, but it's still in opposition. And whoever's on this challenge, if they fail, they're considered burned, which means they either lose one of their contacts if you have any, or you're -2 to all future interaction type challenges until the end of the next session. It has a potential long-term effect. So anyway, that's the bonus card that you can use to either add to the table or replace a card. So that's just going to sit over here for a second. So you have one free redraw, and then you have that one that you can insert or replace with. And again, you have the technical normal, situation normal, and the tactical bit of luck. So in your situation, I'm thinking the free redraw, probably just use that to kill the tactical.
Okay.
And take a redraw on that.
What do you think, Walt?
Hit it. Take that redraw.
Yeah.
All right. So it is replaced with a technical major issue. So most of the challenges are designed to be hard. It's random on purpose, but there's a slight weighting towards them being more challenging than not. Technical is just like before, computers, academics, electronics, all those kinds of things. Major issue means all rolls are made at -4. You're still going for target number 4, but you're at -4. So you got to really throw some high rolls at how it rolls out to do well. So now we're sitting on a technical situation normal, a tactical bit of luck, and a technical major issue with an interaction snafu that could be used to either replace one of these, or you could leave it on the table as well. In which case you're facing a really hard one with the snafu, a pretty hard one with this technical here, and then a tactical that's a bit of luck, which would probably be like the final. The tactical will be likely you're like, okay, we found her, and this is our initial busting the doors in, initial part of the raid to rescue her kind of thing. And you got a situation normal technical. So you have some more, a little harder set of challenges here in terms of your decision making.
But we have the 3 cards which are now going to basically occur all at once, right?
Yes, you have to face these all at once, just like you did before. You have 3 cards, possibly 4, if you decide to leave Nick's interaction snafu card on the table. You still have Mr. Nobody. If you keep all 4 cards, that means each of you is facing a challenge by yourself, including the mission specialist. And the only support is, Nick gets to decide to help somebody else. While he's leading his own challenge, he can do a battle roll to help somebody on their challenge. If you dump the interaction or the major issue technical, you're only 3 cards, which means you have at least one person who can act as support for someone like before, and you can just kind of focus your efforts on trying to just solve those 3 as well as as best you can.
But that would be less die rolls in order to add to the overall number of successes that we could potentially get.
Yes, yeah, exactly that. Instead of 4 challenges, all with the possibility of dumping as many success tokens in as possible, it's only 3 challenges that you're trying to jack up as high as you can.
What do you think, Nick? Do we want to go for the goal, or do we want to punt?
Well, when you put it that way, my Ranger is just clawing at the bit to just go do all of them.
Go hard or go home.
Go hard or go home. I mean, no risk, no reward, right?
Well, just
Sponte, man. Do it.
What do you think? Well,
I say let's do 4. No risk, no reward.
RLTW, let's do this.
All right. That means that all 4 characters, including your mission specialist, are going to be on their own.
This is what happens when you game with Rangers.
I'm fine with that.
Like, we're surrounded and the cards are stacked against us? Good. We know where they're at. Let's do this.
Okay. That means Mr. Nobody is going to be on his own as well and handling something for you in the background. All right. So that now brings us to the next part, which is who's going to do what?
I'll take tactical.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and put the tactical challenge on Nick's situation. We have 2 technicals and an interaction. It looks to me.
Can notice be used for one of the technicals?
Yes, notice can totally be used for a technical.
I will take technical bit of luck, and I think we should let Mike do technical major issue because he's got more of the skills that could probably accommodate the negative consequences of that card.
All right, so it's actually technical situation normal, but yeah, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then you're going to leave the major issue technical to Commando Guinness, and you're going to leave the interaction challenge to Mr. Nobody.
Mr. Nobody, yes, sir.
All right. Well, he's got skills that he can use to handle that, so that'll be fine. Now so at this point, do we know what's going on with Mike? Do we know if he's coming back?
He's probably just got a call from work. He's probably listening. He's just doing that multitasking thing.
Hey.
Okay. You're back.
I am.
So
What's up?
did you hear what happened?
No, I didn't. What happened?
Okay. So TLDR version, 4 challenges. The UA Ranger decided you're going to, by God, keep all 4 of them on the table, even though it could suck. So you are handling a technical challenge at major issue. Commando Ramos is handling a technical challenge at situation normal. Commando Malone is handling a tactical challenge with a bit of luck +2. And Mr. Nobody is set off to handle an interaction challenge with a snafu situation.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right. So unless somebody's got a thing they want to jump on, I'll go ahead and do Mr. Nobody's.
Sounds good.
So Mr. Nobody is going to use investigation. So investigation is one of the skills that always looks great on a character sheet, but in typical Savage World situations, it doesn't come up as much as you'd think. So that's one of the reasons I let investigation be the skill you could use to solve 3 of the 4 challenge types. So because he's a trained investigator, he's going to use his investigation skill. So Walt, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. You're going to roll for Mr. Nobody.
I'm there.
He has a infiltration ability, so he's actually going to infiltrate he's going to infiltrate a business that is associated with that shell company that Commando Malone discovered.
That was Commando Guinness.
Oh, Commander Guinness. Commander Guinness discovered. So he's going to I forgot about something else he can do. My bad. Who did he back up last time?
Me.
He backed up you. All right, you're getting a bonus Benny because I forgot something that he could do for you.
That's fantastic.
So Walt, you have a bonus. Yeah, he actually has an additional backup ability. He's got something called analysis that allows him to roll his trade craft in the same way that Malone can roll his battle to support somebody else's action. And I forgot that he could do that. So he'll be able to do that this round as well. So anyway, so you're going to roll for him. So you need a D8 and a D6.
Got you.
You're going to get a +1 on this because he has the infiltration specialty. I am going to roll an opposition, which is I get to roll a D10 and a wild die as the GM against you. So these are opposed rolls. Opposed rolls work a little bit differently. Instead of a set target number, I roll, and what I roll is the number you're trying to meet or beat.
Yes, sir.
So go ahead and roll.
I got a 5 on the D8 and a 1 on the wild die.
All right. So 5 on the D8, which means he's going to get that +1, which will make it a 6. Right. We'll go ahead and say that he's going to spend one of his bennies. He is a full-on character as a mission specialist. So he has his own bennies. He's going to roll. He's going to spend that. But I'm going to let you decide. Do you want to give him extra effort, or do you want him to re-roll and try for blow-ups?
Re-roll, try and blow up.
When I say blow-ups, I mean roll maximum on the dice. Right. Get him explode. All right, so roll again.
Okay, on the D6, I got a 4. On the D8, I got an 8.
So roll it again.
A 2.
So it becomes a 10 plus 1 becomes an 11. So
yes,
he got an 11. I rolled a 6 on my D10. I can spend one of my GM bennies, and I'm going to. So I'm spending a GM Benny to all extra effort. And I roll a 1, of course. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. So I roll a 7 and you got an 11. So what that means is you got a success and a raise. So that's 2 more successes for the overall total mission on that. So that being the case, he has gone in and used his investigation abilities to develop additional information. And in fact, he now knows the name of the craft that was used to capture her.
Sweet.
It is a Portuguese registered personal yacht, the Golden Harpoon.
Ooh, you likey.
That is the name of the boat that she was taken away on. So now you got to figure out where the hell that boat is. So that would be the next part. Now again, at this point, Mr. Nobody, now he will not be going in on. He's a mission specialist, but he won't be going in on the actual final fight if we actually get to that part. Right. But he still has one other thing he can do. He can provide intelligence analysis, which means he'll be able to make a tradecraft roll to support someone. I'll tell you right now, I'm probably gonna have him do that in support of Commando Guinness. He'll be helping Guinness go through whatever he's doing and using intelligence analysis to support him because he's at a -4 over there.
Right.
Although What's your notice, Ramos?
It's a D8.
Oh, okay, so you're not in bad shape. Yeah, it's still better if he helps the -4, I think. So if you guys agree that the tactical challenge might represent the final, bust the door in, or airborne drop in, or whatever you want to call it, to initiate the final battle, then you might want to save that one for last. It's your call. It is always your call. I'm just throwing out suggestions. So with that in mind, you have 2 technical and that tactical. Who wants to go next?
Well, we'll just go ahead with tactical right now.
Well, did you want to use that for last, Nick? Represent kicking down the door?
That's the door kicking mission. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, save that for last. Mike, did you want to go first, or did you want me to take it?
I can go ahead and do a technical challenge, right?
All right. So one of the things we were trying to do is actually find the damn ship.
Okay. Do we have a basic?
Those Portuguese ships are tricky.
They float and stuff.
They float and stuff. Do we have a name? Do we have a rough size, profile, tonnage?
It's going to be a personal yacht, and the name is Golden Harpoon. That's what we're looking for.
Yep.
Okay. Can I do this as a computer challenge where I hack into the ship registries of various Portuguese maritime agencies, and maybe even hack into some GPS satellites and try to figure out where it's at right now?
Absolutely. All right. So first things first. He has intelligence analysis mastery as one of his focuses. So he's going to get his tradecraft roll with a +2. So I'm going to roll that in support of you before you roll.
Okay.
So I'm at D8 +2, but I'm going to -4 because it is a major issue on the card. So I'm a net -2. And he rolls a 4 on the D8, but he rolls a 6 on the D6. Blow that up. Becomes a 7 +2, or no, 7 -2 is a 5. So he's going to give you a +1. So you end up with a net +1 from Mr. Nobody. Now, remember, Nick, that your character can provide a tactical analysis as well, a battle roll, to also support a challenge. Do you want to save that for Ramos's technical challenge, or do you want to throw it at this -4 one that Guinness is handling?
Well, it's pretty important that we find the location of the ship, and since what he's doing, let's go ahead and do that battle roll round.
All right, so you're in the same situation as Mr. Nobody was. You're rolling, I believe your battle's a D8, so you'll be rolling a D8 and a D6, and you're at +2 because you get +2 whenever you do this particular action, but the card is -4. So that means you'll be at a net -2.
Okay. All right, rolling the D8, I have a 4.
Okay, that becomes a 2, unfortunately.
It was a 2, and then I roll the D6, and it becomes a 2.
So unfortunately, you are not able to get a significant handle on the tactical elements of this particular challenge to provide any help. You can spend bennies if you want to. It's your call. You're in a support role, so it's not as valuable as if you're in the lead role. But it's still your call as to whether or not you want to do that. I'm trying to remember. I'm looking at the character sheet real quick. No, you don't have. Okay, I was just trying. I've seen if you had anything else that would help that, but you do not. Okay, so we want to let it stand at that and just see if he can.
Yeah, let's see how the mission progresses. I want to save that for the actual door kicking portion.
Understood. All right. So that being the case, Mike, your character, Commando Guinness, is making a computers check. Now, you're really, really good at this shit. So even though you're at a -4 on the card, you have +2 because of your field computer. You have +2 because it's digital data. And you have a +1 because of the help from Mr. Nobody. So you're actually a net +1 on this roll because of your bonuses offset these penalties. Being a specialist has advantages. It helps you in certain situations like this.
All right, so roll a D6 +4 and a D10 +4. Take the higher.
That is correct.
All right, D6 +4 is a 10, and D10 +4 is a 7. So we'll go with 10.
Hold on, back up.
Yeah.
D6 +4. Does that mean you rolled a 6 on the 6?
Yes.
All right, that explodes. That's the thing that happens in Savage Worlds. Because you rolled maximum on that dough, roll it again.
With the same modifier?
Well, no. You currently have a 10, but the 6 explodes, so you just roll the D6.
Okay, cool. And I got another 6. That's weird.
So roll it again. Your dice continue to explode until they stop exploding.
Okay, no shit. I just got another
Savage
D6
World.
here on the Wizards of the Coast die roller, and I got another 6 on a D6. That's my third 6 in a row.
You in this particular system, you want to blow the dice up because the more successes, the better. So roll it again.
That and Pinhead will show up in my office here pretty soon.
Just got a 1.
Okay, so that was 3 6s and a 1 on that D6, correct?
Yep, that's correct.
So that becomes 18 plus 1 is 19, and you were adding that plus 1, so 20. That means you just achieved 5 total successes.
God!
Holy crap.
So yes, that means you had significant success on that. You absolutely you hone in, you get satellite imagery, you know, tracking, everything like that. You know exactly where that ship is.
We saw what they're serving for the meal on the yacht.
All right, so that was a major success. So we now have the other technical challenge, which you said you were planning on using notice for that, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, perhaps that puts you in an, we're now closing in on the scene where you found the remote island. It's one of those islands that's not even on the maps anywhere, and you guys are now actually on site on the island, and you're in Overwatch to kind of like get a sense of where the guards are, where any security systems they might have, that kind of thing. That sound
okay,
cool?
So yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so that would be your making a notice check then.
Yep, and I'm looking for doing a little bit of reconnaissance. Maybe Freedom Squadron allowed me to take a couple of drones with me, maybe find the best routes into to get our VIP, and then best routes out, so that if the stuff hits the fan, because we have Nick with us, so the stuff's going to hit the fan.
Right.
we can make sure that we have a excellent way of egress to get out of there. So I'm going to use my notice check to kind of do some recon.
Okay. So here's another cool thing. You have zone specialist desert.
Yes, sir.
So you could, because this is how this system works, you could say, hey, this is kind of a desert island. And
I love desert islands.
So therefore you can arrange the scene to be conducive to your specializations, and it therefore allow you to show off your zone specialist ability.
Nice.
So that is a potential effect for you, which in addition, what that means is because we're starting a scene that involves your specialty, you have a bonus spending for that.
That's fantastic.
All right. So that could be helpful to you. All right. So that being the case, go ahead and I'm going to, because you described such a cool situation of like drones and shit, I'm going to give you a +1 just for cool description.
Awesome.
Ground surveillance radar teams.
So you have situation normal. So you make a notice check and a net +1 because of your description of use of situation and tech.
Okay, so on a D8 I rolled a 7, but on the wild die I rolled a 6, which explodes.
That blows up.
And I get a 5, so that would be 11.
And then +1 because the bonus I gave you becomes a 12, which means 3 more successes from you.
Awesome.
All right. So you succeed in getting all of the necessary information for Commando Malone to, as we say, run the tactical operation, which is the final challenge.
Kick it and stick it.
To go in and accomplish the final part of the mission.
Okay. All right. So what information did we get from Walt?
So at this point, you have it's a desert island, so it's mostly desert, arid kind of environment. The foliage is pretty low here.
Okay.
However, the advantage of the island is it's completely off the records, but there is what you see is that there's a small, very old, dilapidated dock, but apparently looks are deceiving. It's been reinforced, and it's actually connected to they've actually created a high-tech bunker that's actually under the surface of the island.
Okay.
Able to establish, that there is essentially a bunker. If you were to like fly over this island, you wouldn't see anything.
Yeah, just
but he finds the secret. Well, not secret, but he finds the hidden, concealed entrance, and he also finds a backdoor entrance that you could potentially use to make your way in.
Okay. How far beneath the surface is it?
Scene appropriate beneath the surface. Dude, I don't know. It's why do you what are you going for?
I am doing this for equipment preparation for my team, whether they're going to use rebreathers or deep water breathing apparatuses.
So that's as a GM, my style is tell me why you're asking. I can give you a better answer, because otherwise I'm just sort of like
we're going to utilize rebreathers for offshore amphibious assault.
Right.
So we have all that information.
It is not that far below.
Okay.
It's just mostly it's like mounded up. There's a mound basically over, and then they've just it is subsurface, but it's not like deep water.
Okay, cool. All right, so it's a subsurface entry point. We can use rebreathers.
Yep.
For the entry point. So we're going to utilize that. We're going to do a halo infiltration into an amphibious assault, which is going to be shallow water rebreathers. So we're going to jump in from the sky, land in, swim offshore. So I don't know if that's too much information. But.
No, I love it, dude. I love it. That's awesome. That is exactly what you're allowed. I mean, this is you get it. I mean, it's not even going to matter at this point, but I'm giving you a bonus Benny just because that's awesome. That is exactly it. You're all over it. This is exactly what you should be doing, is thinking in those terms and adding in those elements, because it's your story to tell. And that's very cool. So like we're seeing the scene in the movie where there's the Halo operation, a couple of Hornets are coming in. That's the name of the VTOL style craft that
awesome.
Freedom Scream uses, but they're extra baffled, and I'm assuming a night insertion maybe.
Yes, it will be during cover of darkness, so that's anywhere between 0 dark 30 and whatever the sunrise is. If there's moonlight illumination, it's really not gonna matter. We're probably gonna infiltrate we're gonna land in the water somewhere probably about a mile offshore and then swim in.
All right, sounds good. So we're probably got a combined team here of SEAL types and Ranger types and everybody else, because it is Freedom Squadron is that kind of unit where you can have people from all kinds of different backgrounds who pull it together. So that being the case, which skill do you want to throw at this? Athletics, battle, boating, demolitions, driving, fighting, notice, piloting, riding, shooting, survival, or tracking? I
guess before I choose, I'm going to have to demo that entry point, or can anybody just kind of access it based on its secrecy?
Explosions are always fun.
Oh yeah, I mean, can't be solved with the ample amount of explosives.
So what's your demolition skill?
It's a D6, but my shooting skill is a D10.
All right, so you have two choices here. Either you decide, and again, I'm sort of pointing out to you, if this were more of a long-term campaign situation or an extended scenario, this would probably figure into your thinking as a player. Right. If you were like, I really want to make sure I have lots of bennies going into the next part of the session, okay, you might choose to use demolitions because it's a suboptimal skill. Right. Because it would earn you a bonus benny on the other side of the challenge. Or you're like, nope, I want to throw the best I can at this because I want to maximize our success. Then you would use shooting. And then in that case, the story probably is one of the guys you've brought in, you have them do the charges while you're in Overwatch, popping bad guys' heads as a sniper kind of thing.
Right.
So you would use your shooting challenge as the primary role because you're taking out the initial guards as the explosion goes off and the initial, guards are pouring out everywhere. You're taking them out while your guys are going in kind of thing. Or even, there's a hole and you're the first one through the hole and the first bad guys you see, you wipe them out, thus, securing the breach. Any one of those or other types of descriptions all work.
A stealth skill too, that would allow me to get entry without notifying anybody.
but this is a tactical challenge, not a covert challenge. So,
okay, so the stealth skill,
right. You know, in this case, it forces the story into this direction, basically.
Okay, so it's going to be completely kinetic.
Right.
All right. Well, demolitions is always the best way to introduce yourself to a hostile threat, as I have found. It sets the tone and it gives you the pace. So,
so do you want to do the demo, or do you want one of your team members to do the demo?
I will elect for one of my team members to do the demo,
and you'll use your shooting then.
And I will use my shooting capabilities.
All right, sounds good. All right, so in that case, go ahead and roll your shooting, and you're at +2 because of the bit of luck. The bit of luck means that because of everything else that's fallen into place, this whole situation has fallen perfectly into place, so that you're going in with total advantage.
Okay, so I'm going to roll the D10 first, and have an 8.
Okay, and is that with the +2?
No, it's an 8. It's an 8 standard. So with +2, it's a 10.
Becomes a 10, yeah.
Okay, and then I'm going to roll for demolitions.
But no, the demolitions is being done.
Oh, by another player.
It's being done. Well, it's being done abstractly. It's part of the scene, but you don't have to roll it.
Okay,
you do need to roll you do need to roll a D6 for your wild die though, because you're a wild card. It might blow up.
And that is a 1.
Okay, so never mind. So you end up with a 10. Now, real quick, before you do anything else, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So going into this, before you rolled, you were already at your maximum success. So this was mostly just a pass-fail. There's no need for you to throw any additional bennies at it because you guys had already achieved maximum mission success here. Right. If you were on the edge, then you might at that time.
And you're welcome for that.
That 5 is.
I'm only as good as my team, as any good commander will tell you.
But again, you still have to face every challenge. So you could be going into the last challenge card with, twice as many successes as you needed. You still have to solve every challenge. So you still had to make the pass fail on that, which you do. Okay. So typically, if we were treating this as a normal full-on session, what would happen is I would then and we're going to do that part anyway. We would stop. We'll take a quick break, and what we're going to do is we're going to assess mission success.
All right.
And that includes awarding all the bonuses that you guys have earned because of your extraordinary success in the mission. And we're going to do that. Then what would happen is we would go into the boss fight, and we would do there'd be a tactical thing with soldiers everywhere, stuff like that. Looking at the situation and the time and everything like that, I don't think we're really going to have quite the time to do it. And it's going to be difficult anyway, because I like to use miniatures and stuff like that. And I was trying to figure out how I was going to do this anyway, but we would go in and, there would be a tactical, because in Savage Worlds, it's a very tactical game. So there'd be about, typically you'd have a map and miniatures and do what?
You can use miniatures with this game, little figure.
Oh yeah. No, that's it. Savage Worlds. There's an ongoing argument about this. People are like, oh, Savage Worlds is too miniatures heavy. I prefer abstract. You can totally play Savage Worlds abstract. We could do it. I could totally do it without maps and miniatures. I prefer maps and miniatures. I love my toys. I have thousands upon thousands of miniatures of every genre there is: Western, fantasy, sci-fi, super, all of them.
That's what. Not make a mistake back in your Kickstarter just now.
So I'm big on that kind of stuff, but you could totally do it abstract. Like I've got the stats here. We could totally describe the scene.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. I mean, like what I found in the officer community when I was a junior officer was that a lot of us play these miniature games with these types of rule sets. Every Friday night we order a pizza and we're doing the shit till 4 in the goddamn morning.
Right. So
a bunch of tactical nerds just getting all tactical and.
Right. So I'm gonna find a.
I can play when I go back to California, and I can play with these guys again.
So if you ever come to Denver, Nick, you need to let me know. We'll set up a game so you can see how I run. I think you'd enjoy it.
You know what? I haven't been to Denver in a very long time, and if I can plan it where I can do a convention and hang out and do tactical gaming, I'll probably die of nerd overload.
Well, there you go. Check out. I just put a link in the chat area. If you look through those photos, you'll see a bunch of tables where there are miniatures everywhere.
Yeah,
I took my entire collection of miniatures. We had multiple tables with miniatures everywhere, including one that was like the air combat scene. I had like little airplanes and stuff like that. So there was one site there were a bunch of people who were playing pilots and they were doing the air combat stuff. And then there was other like multiple like city and desert and all this other kind of stuff, and multiple tactical teams fighting all over the damn place. So you'll get a kick out of that. So At this stage, because you achieved mission success, base mission success for a medium difficulty mission, that means you would each earn a bonus Benny, and you would also have a bonus action card when you face the enemy that is relevant to the mission. So in this case, going into the boss fight, going into that underground bunker space,
Right.
going against the Venom Troopers and Captain Zolvar to rescue Carmen Escribano, which, by the way, the name of the name of the first part was "Where in the World is Carmen," and then the second part was called "Rescue from Detention Block AA23."
I like it.
Which is, if you're a Star Wars nerd, you get that reference.
Yep.
So you would go into it. What it means is, in Savage Worlds, you use poker cards, basically, typical playing cards as initiative. And so Joker's the best possible result. Aces are high, twos are bad, that kind of thing.
Right.
So you would go into this mission with such an advantage that you have a bonus action card. You would get to best of 2 cards as your initiative. And that would be an abstract representation of you coming in against your enemy with having achieved enough information and overall advantage against them that you had the initiative against them, quite literally. The +5, or in this case we said +2, but the +5 level mission success is an additional bonus Benny. So you guys would be walking in here with 2 bonus bennies, which you guys have already seen a little bit how important those bennies are.
Right.
They let you reroll damage, they let you soak wounds, they're very important. So going with extra bennies is also a great abstract way of representing how much advantage you go in. Now, you guys got maximum mission success. So in addition to those immediate combat relevant bonuses against your enemy, you also walk out with a long-term permanent advantage on your character, which is one of 3 things. Either a focus of any type. You get 1 free focus of your choice, and it can be a combat focus. You could take a focus on a type of weapon, like pistols or assault rifles or whatever, or grenades or whatever, or a focus on a more abstract thing like satellite recon. For example, Guinness could say, put satellite recon in his focus list, and anytime he was doing any kind of technical challenge or anything that was related to using satellites, he would get a +1 bonus for that. So it could be any focus at all, just a cool thing that you get +1s on, or a contact of any type. It would be one of the 4 challenge types. So you could choose an interaction contact, or a tactical, or a technical, or a covert contact. And what that means is someone you met along the way that you get to add to your character sheet, and you get to come up with their name and who they were. And before, because of the jackpot, Walt he had the option to take a smuggler as a contact. In this case, it could be anybody. Anybody you can come up with, say, somewhere along the line, I met this person. And what that means is they become a person who's part of your character's story, but they also are very useful during future challenges like the ones you guys just did. Like we use Mr. Nobody as a backup for some of your abilities. The contact could be called in, like, okay, I have a tactical contact. So the next time we have a tactical challenge, I can bring them in and they get to make their role as a support role. Now, contacts can only be support. They cannot be used in lead. Also, they're not wild cards, so they would only roll their die. They wouldn't roll a wild die. But you can accumulate these contacts, which I've got players who've been playing this game for a while, and they have like these lists of contacts, which are all these stories. But then anytime we have a really hard challenge, like, well, I got 2 interaction contacts. I'll bring both of them in to help us against this snafu interaction challenge, and that kind of thing. The third thing that you can choose, there was the focus, there's the contact. The third thing you can choose instead is bonus gear points. And that's going to be more relevant to a campaign style experience. Like if you're in a long-term campaign, gear points in typical Savage Worlds gaming, you have money and you buy gear or whatever. In Freedom Squadron, I eliminate the money thing, and instead you have what are called gear points, which represents your allocation of equipment your character can go in the field with.
Right.
And everything in the game is listed in terms of gear points. And as you gain experience, you gain more gear points. Those gear points can also be used to customize your gear. So instead of just adding more gear, there's a list of things you can do. Like you could add additional armor piercing value to a particular weapon, or you could add to its damage value, or you can give it a bonus to hit, or you can increase the effectiveness of armor. So there's a number of things that you can spend gear points on to customize. So you can either carry an additional piece of gear that you really want for your character, or you can use those points to customize your gear. So all three of those are options that each of you would get to choose because you got maximum success on this mission. So, assuming you want to keep the character, you would make that choice and walk out of the session with that as a permanent bonus to your character.
Well, Malone's been doing good. I'm going to keep this dude.
All right. So, well, that's the other thing that's going to happen at the end of the scenario. We're going to determine what your code names are, because you're also going to get 5 experience points because it's your first official game with me.
Hell yeah.
So you become 20 experience point characters, which means you can then level up, which ones you can either use core Savage Worlds rules or get your hands on the Commandos manual, and there's level up options that are listed in that book as well. So you'll get to add something new to your character based on Savage Worlds rules, and you'll earn your code name. So before we close out today, we're going to figure out what everybody's code names are, and I'm going to actually officially add you to the officially published cast list.
Yes.
For
that's
Freedom
awesome.
Squadron. So I've got the Freedom Squadron cast list. Where is it? Come on, where is it?
Well, I'll give you 3 guesses what my code name's going to be.
I never would have guessed.
If the camera was working, you would see his shock face right now.
All right. So, so like I said, each of you will get to make a choice whether you want it to be a contact. If it's a contact, by the way, we need to make a die roll because they have a minimum D8 value, but they might have a higher value. So did any of you want to add a contact to your character as your reward? Or are you guys going to go, it's like I said, focus, contact, or gear points. If it's gear points, you'll get +3 gear points on top of whatever your character's gear points are. But, like I said, it's up to you. Focus, that's like we did before. It's going to be, a cool thing added to your focus list that you'll get bonuses on. But if it's going to be a contact, you need to let me know because we need to go ahead and roll and see how cool they are.
I'm going to go, Ramos is going to go for a bit of gear because medics can always use more stuff.
All right, so just note that you have +3 gear points, and the next time we ever play together, Walt, or actually when if you get your hands on the system, you'll see how that works. You'll see that at 20 experience points, you will have X points of gear, and you'll get +3 on top of that. As your reward.
I'm a backer on the Kickstarter from like a weekend, so I'm already in, and I love Savage Worlds. So we're all that in a bag of donuts.
All right, so Mike, are you thinking gear points, focus, or contact?
I'm thinking gear points as a tech specialist. I probably want a cooler laptop or something like that.
Okay, well, there you go. So again, make note that you just probably write it in your gear section or whatever that, when you get a hold of the rules and want to upgrade your character, you get +3 gear points that you can use. See, the thing is you have to wait until you're 20 experience points. Oh, wait, you guys are 20 experience points. So you may use those points to both customize or just add new gear. How about you, Nick? What are you thinking?
Well, I think as a tactical guy, I'm probably going to use contacts just so I can have, intelligence preparation at the battlefield on future storylines.
Okay, so do you want a tactical, a technical, a interaction, or a covert? Because it's usually what people do is they like to get a hold of contacts that fill in holes that they don't have. So, like if you're not a covert specialist, you might want a covert contact. So you have somebody call in that can do that for you.
I'm trying to decide between covert and technical.
Okay.
I'm going to roll. I want the technical contact.
So here's how it's going to roll. Roll a D8 for me. It does not explode. Just roll it. Just roll a D8 and tell me what you get.
All right. Stand by. I got an 8.
Oh, so here's how this works. On a 1 through 4, the contact is a D8 value. On a 5 through 7, the contact is a D10. On an 8, that's a D12. So you somehow made contact with a technical contact D12.
Damn.
Anytime you have a technical challenge, you can call in this, oh my God, expert. It's like, world famous genius of some kind.
Hell yeah.
And you can use them. You can use that D12 as a backup roll on any technical.
What I say, Walt, luck favors prepared.
Right. All right. So the other thing is, I want to find out what y'all's code names are. So, Nick, what's the code name of this character?
I will be the Phantom Hawk.
Phantom Hawk.
Yep.
Okay, very cool. Let me get this on my official list here. Phantom Hawk.
And I can see Walt's shocked face right now.
If my camera yeah, it's a thing.
It's a thing. Even though I'm officially retired from drawing that character.
Okay, and so Walt, do you have an idea for a code name for your character?
Caduceus.
Caduceus.
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, the official medical symbol based on the staff of Hermes.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, just help me remember how to spell that.
CADUCEUS.
CADUC. Oh, I'm sorry. What was the last part?
E as in echo, U as in uniform, S as in Sierra.
Got it. Combat medic. And what about you, Mike?
I'll go with an obscure geek reference and be Turing.
Turing? That's a good one. I like that. Turing as in Turing test.
Oh, okay.
And the Alan Turing, yeah. Guy who broke the Enigma machine.
Yep. All right. All right. So, like I said, in a typical situation, I would actually go in and we would do the whole, cool combat battle and stuff like that and go on from there. But I think that gives you guys a really solid idea of the plans and operations part of that.
Right.
And obviously, I mean, the thing is, you have different ways you can play. I mean, that by itself was a pretty cool story, right? Right there at the end, including coming into the end and you kicking the door in with the cool story about the halo and the swimming in and blowing it in, and everybody else had their part to play in that. And so by itself, it works as a fine little mini game session or a full story all by itself, or it can work as the lead into a bigger, more tactical battle and stuff like that. And I've used variations on that to do giant mega battle stuff where I've had 50 players in a room all at multiple tables, and some of the tables are they're going through and using the challenge cards, and they're fulfilling the challenges, and the successes they generate become assets they can spend to call in airstrikes or additional military support, or do medevacs to pull injured characters out and get them healed up to put them back in play, or all kinds of other cool stuff that they could do to support the players who are engaged in the more direct
naval gunfire.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome, dude.
So we actually had that going on at the big Genghis Khan game.
Oh man.
Genghis Khan being the big Savage Worlds convention here in Denver.
Yes, that being exactly that. So, guys, thank you very, very much. Do you have anything else? Any questions?
I just want to say that as far as the planning and operations phase goes, this I think is great for new players because it shows them the system. But unlike interludes where you really have to focus on the story first, these mechanics help drive the story. So this is very, very cool.
Thank you very much. Yes, that was something that was talked about, because when people said, so, what about people who aren't real comfortable with story play? I said, yes, well, this actually is a nice combo thereof, because it isn't casting them adrift with no guidance whatsoever. It's saying, here's a challenge. Here's a set of skills you need to focus on. While you're doing that, what do you think the scene is that helped you, that happened here? And so it kind of helps pull them into that without leaving them adrift with no guidance. So I think it becomes like a best of both worlds. So I really appreciate that you thought that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my wife, when she played Savage Worlds for the first time and had to do an interlude, there were crickets. There were like deer in the headlights looks on her face. I mean, it was pulling teeth. But this would have made that session infinitely easier. So I think even if people just back for the plans and operations manual, they're going to get more than their money's worth. But I think people should really go in for at least the $40 level digital, where you get everything digigal.
Yeah. So that's I do, and again, I appreciate that very, very much. So
I went full Ranger on that. I went with the $95 because it had the coolest shit. It was all printable. I'm anything like having to do with a manual or a book or cool artwork. I'm kind of taking the Stan Lee approach where boobs are great to see on screen, but I'd rather have them in my hand. So that's what I went with. It had the coolest shit on there. So I went with that. I haven't done any type of tabletop games or role-playing games in probably about 6 years. This game was very easy to engage in and learn the rules really fast. So, which is awesome.
Thank you, Nick.
when I was hardcore into it, you get a new player, it's almost like I have to sit them down in a conference room with a PowerPoint slide and try and explain to them the rules of the game. I didn't have to do that with this. It was very simple and very engaging for newcomers to come in. And yeah, there's a little bit of a learning curve, but it's not steep like other games. So they're able to come in there and be like, all right, cool, I know what I need to do. And they're also able to add to the story, which I haven't done in a while. So I was kind of like picking up on what Walt and what everybody was saying. And I'm like, okay, cool. Here's how I'm going to do this when we get to the door kicking phase. I thought it was really cool. It's very elaborative, and it plays off everything else. So you're creating the story as you go along, which is awesome. As a comic book creator, don't be surprised if you see this in the pages one day.
Thank you.
With approval, of course.
Oh, I would love to work with you on something like that. That would be really awesome.
I don't know if you have Facebook, but add me on Facebook.
Well, yeah, we're definitely on Facebook. So actually, hang on real quick. Nick, what's your actually, are you friends with Mike on there?
He's friends with me too, so.
Yeah. Right. I think I'm friends with Mike as well.
I think so. Like last week we joined up or something.
I think we did.
There's a lot of hugging going on right now.
A lot of hugging, a lot of high-fiving, a lot of broness going on.
Manly hugging.
A lot of manly hugging. There's a little fist bump on the back, to acknowledge a good mission.
So Nick, is it Nick Garber?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I just friend requested you on there. So perfect.
Since I'm enjoying the game so much, any artwork you would like to have done or additional artwork or anything like that, let me know. I'll be more than happy to provide that for you. I love drawing tactical shit.
Fantastic. We should definitely I'm actually gonna dump my email address in that chat thing, and let's stay in touch, because we're definitely going forward, we're going to need artists for other stuff. So
I love drawing tactical stuff. I love helping other people get their projects off the ground, because those are the people that have funded me in the past. So I love to pay it forward. So
all right, guys.
All right, sounds good.
Nick, Mike, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate this. It's this was fun.
Yeah, it wasn't let you know when it goes up. Shouldn't be too long. And good luck at the vet today.
Appreciate that very much. And one more thing. At some point between 10 a.m. Mountain Time Monday morning and 10 a.m. Mountain Time Tuesday morning, feel free to pop into the live cast. We're doing a 24-hour final countdown party broadcast right here from the pub, which is my living room. and it's going to be an entire day of AMA and dancing and drinking and gaming and more dancing and drinking and more gaming until I pass out after the Kickstarter ends Tuesday morning.
That's my ritual for Kickstarter.
Is the link for that going to be on the Kickstarter page?
Well, it's going to broadcast right straight to the Kickstarter page. Yes.
All right, cool. So Freedom Squadron Kickstarter page if you want to see that. To our listeners, thanks for checking this out, and we will catch you next time on the Banff Podcast.
Peace out, brothers.
Late.